And Margaret with Raise the Vibration. Hi, everybody. Today I am talking about our relationship to pain. It is one of the major topics in the book that I'm writing right now about our relationship to pain, power, and purpose. So today, especially in honor of the New York Marathon that's being run today, and several, I want to give a shout out to Annie and Dorothy. Several of my friends are running in that today. I thought it'd be a great topic to cover because no one running a marathon is void of experiencing incredible pain before, probably with the anticipation, and of course afterwards. But as we know, pain is not just physical in our life. We also have mental, emotional, psychological, and we even have spiritual pain. So how can we shift our relationship to pain and have that raise the vibration of our entire life and our entire understanding of what it means to be human? Thank you guys for joining me. So the first thing I want to do is share with you my favorite passage on pain. It's a very sexy topic for a Sunday morning, obviously. So thanks for joining me, because we usually try and avoid pain. This is why we quite seriously have an opioid epidemic. This is why over 1 in 4 women in their 40s and 50s are on antidepressants. We have a very dysfunctional relationship in our society to pain, whether it be physical, mental, or emotional, or psychological, or spiritual. How can we shift our relationship to pain? And one of the biggest, most transformative ways that I personally have shifted my own relationship to this in my own life is through a passage that was introduced to me about almost 20 years ago by a dear friend, Carlos. So hello to Carlos. Thank you so much for sharing this book with me. It's impacted my whole life. It's also been a book that I use in my yoga teacher training, and I've referenced it in the notes for the live here. But it's a passage on pain. I wanted to go through this with you this morning and just navigate it with you so your understanding of this poem. It's very, very dense, but it's from the prophet. It's the passage on pain, and here it is. Okay, so just close your eyes if you want to just receive this and reflect on this for your own self in your own life. And I'll be speaking about it through each of the passages, each of the lines as well, just to help us understand this a little bit more thoroughly. So a woman spoke, saying, "Tell us of pain." And he said, "Your pain is the breaking of the shell that encloses your understanding. Even as the stone of the fruit must break so that its heart may stand in the sun, so must you know pain." So the beginning of this very short passage is on pain, is saying that the pain that we're experiencing in life is actually teaching us. It's the breaking open of the shell that encloses our understanding about life. And we know everybody who's watching this, everybody who is living, understands what pain feels like and could look back at some of the most painful moments and recognize that if they're not trapped in the victim archetype, that those moments in their life where they experienced the greatest pain taught them the most, showed them who they were because of who they had to be to rise up and meet that pain. So the breaking of the shell that encloses our understanding. And then he goes on and says, "And could you keep your heart in wonder at the daily miracles in your life? Your pain would not seem less wondrous than your joy." So what he's saying here is that if we could just detach from trying to avoid pain, trying to escape pain, if we could say that every aspect of our life, every single moment of our life, no matter how painful it is a miracle, is touched by God, is touched by divine energy or source energy, then our pain would not seem less wondrous, less incredible, less purposeful than our joy. We usually chase joy and run from pain. But if we could keep our heart truly in honor of all of the aspects of being human, we could recognize pain as the teacher that it is and glean as much as we can from it so that we don't keep attracting it over and over. You know, those vicious cycles in our lives that repeat and teach us those same lessons. And he continues and says, "And you would accept the seasons of your heart, even as you have always accepted the seasons that pass over your fields. And you would watch with serenity through the winters of your grief. So continuing on here, he's saying you would accept the seasons. Right now, we're in the midst of fall and we're moving towards winter. And we know we accept the seasons. We know that it gets colder in winter and we go more internally in winter, and then spring begins to open us back up again. But if we could treat our emotions and our experience of life in the same way that we do the seasons of our life, then our pain would not seem less wondrous than our joy. We could watch with serenity through the winters of our grief. When we go through painful times in life, we don't have to try and escape that, but we could sit in it and say, wow, this is intense. This is teaching me. This is really, this is a moment where I can open my heart and I can open myself to transformation. It's not what we usually do collectively. This is why we have this opioid epidemic. This is why we run from the difficult conversations that we need to have in life. So next line, he says, much of your pain is self-chosen. Yikes, when I first read that line, I was like, oh no, wait, what? Much of your pain is self-chosen. Now, we don't choose pain. We're not trying to attract more pain in our life because we like to suffer, or do we? Some of us are very attached to our stories, very attached to that pain, very attached to the things that keep us trapped. All of us, not just some of us, all of us have an addiction to pain, to suffering in some way. And when we can uncover why, like what we're getting out of that, are we getting to be safe? Are we getting to be right? Are we getting the glorification of being on the right side of whatever that is that we are experiencing? In an argument, we'll stay suffering because we want to prove that the other person is wrong, or the story that we've told ourselves about our parents our entire life, or our sister or our brother or our circumstances is really the truth, rather than saying, hold on, am I willing to be wrong about this? So much of our pain is self-chosen. We learn through our pain, and we keep attracting that until we learn the lessons to free our soul or to evolve our soul. Okay, so he continues on, and the rest of the passage really is about this. The pain is the bitter potion by which the physician within you heals your sick self. We learn through pain. We know that the medicines that we take are actually poisons, but they poison us in a way to help heal the dysfunctionality in our bodies. Therefore, he says, trust the physician and drink his remedy in silence and tranquility. Trust God. Trust that higher seeing self. Trust that soul within you that is choosing this painful experience, that is moving through this painful experience because it's transforming your soul. It's transforming your relationship to yourself, to your life, to your body, to the experience of being human. So he says, trust the physician and drink his remedy in silence and tranquility. For his hand, though heavy and hard, is guided by the tender hand of the unseen, is guided by God, is guided by your higher self, by the source, by the soul. And the cup he brings, though it burn your lips, has been fashioned of the clay, which the potter, the God, source, energy, has moistened with his own sacred tears. So this one passage for me from the prophet has transformed the relationship that I have with pain, has helped me navigate those difficult times. And those of you who have run the marathon today, those of you who are struggling with difficult emotional pain, are not understanding why you're going through psychological pain, I hope this has been helpful for you today. I've put some notices in here with the notes of different things. You know I'm a huge essential oil fan. Helichrysum is a wonderful oil for dealing with physical pain and also emotional pain. And Deep Blue Rub, also, my goodness, every marathon runner should have that today. But also just wanting to pick those two oils, and let's do one card here. Endings and beginnings. We have to trust those endings in our life, and that those endings always bring new beginnings. So I hope this has been helpful. Love to all of you. Thank you so much for joining me today. This is Anne Margaret with Raise the Vibration. Bye.